It's getting more interesting and more lively each passing day. In our yesterday's analysis, I did state that the second wave of protests are beginning. And looking at what happened today at Uhuru Park in Nairobi, the second wave has just begun. And as time goes by, it's only but going to pick momentum. Thousands of Gen Zs earlier today congregated at Uhuru Park in Nairobi. And the message was very simple and very clear. Ruto must go. Ruto must go.
Kelvin Madanga, Chris Gitonga, tunasema viva jamani. Haya, huyo alikuwa 12 years old. Kennedy Onyango, viva! Rex Masai, viva! Matthew Choroge, viva! Kevin Mawasi, Bisley Kogi, David Shager, viva! Erickson Chara Motisia, Ibrahim Kamau Chiro, BV Elias Scott, Emmanuel Kingstarter, viva! Joshua Obati, viva! Clinton Mavali, viva! Kennedy.
Yes, that was the clear message from Uhuru Park by the Gen Zs. Ruto must go. Even though those who were on the podium were trying to tell them to say viva, anytime the dead and the abducted were being mentioned, they insisted Ruto must go. And that was not a small crowd. That was a very big crowd. A crowd that was not mobilized by politicians, a crowd that mobilized itself not by the politicians. And that should also send a very strong warning to William Ruto. Things have not calmed down. Things are still building up. So William Ruto, from where he is, he has no option. Gen Zs have laid 14 demands on the table. He has no option but to implement those demands. He should not attempt playing monkey businesses with these youths. I want us to dig deep into that for Kenyans to understand what's happening here. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Let's proceed. I want to sympathize with Ruto, but there is no way I can sympathize with him because he speared himself with his own spear and is still spearing himself with his own spear. And we know that a person who spears himself should not be mourned. Gen Zs gave William Ruto an opening where he could most probably redeem himself. They gave him the 14 demands, which he should be implementing. But from the look of things, William Ruto is still buying time for things to calm down. That's William Ruto's strategy. And it's very unfortunate for him because these Gen Zs and Kenyans at large now understands the games William Ruto is playing on them. Kenyans know that all these promises by Ruto, all these task forces, all these calls for dialogues are just meant to buy time for this whole protests and mandamano to die down, after which nothing will be done or no change will be effected by Ruto's government. Those are the games Ruto is playing, and it's very unfortunate for him because Kenyans now understand all those games. So his only option is to implement the 14 demands. He should not even call for dialogue or any other thing. Let him implement the 14 demands. All those demands are all the things Kenyans have been complaining about. We now know it was not about the finance bill 2024. The bill was just a trigger. Kenyans all along were not happy on how William Ruto was running this country. Everything was going south. There is nothing William Ruto has done in under 2 years of his rule that he has gotten right. Everything has been against the people. So collectively, Kenyans were complaining about all those. But even now, after Parliament was stormed and occupied, it appears William Ruto is just still playing games. And those games are what took Kenyans to the streets, making promises which are hardly being fulfilled. And to make matters even worse, William Ruto was to effect some changes in his cabinet yesterday. And Kenyans were waiting with bated breaths to see the changes. And I'm seeing time is going, time is running out. I believe that's the beginning of a second wave of the protests. And this protest will just continue strategically until when Kenya will now be convinced that Ruto is not willing to change. Gen Zs are not stupid. They are still giving William Ruto a window to rectify things. And what I can predict as time goes by, the Gen Zs should and they will be piling more pressure on William Ruto, albeit bit by bit, small by small, little by little. And from what I'm also seeing, as Gen Zs will be piling pressure on Ruto, Ruto will be assuming. Yes, just like today Gen Z spoke clearly at Uhuru Park, Ruto must go. But maybe Ruto is not taking that seriously. He's just assuming that that might be a passing cloud. That's just helping in building emotions. And emotions will build to a point. We might see Kenyans now together with all these Gen Zs taking to the streets once again. And the first wave ended in Parliament being stormed and being occupied. I don't know what the second wave will lead into, but it's very clear it will be more intense than the first wave. So if Ruto is listening, if any of his advisors are listening, let them tell William Ruto to implement the 14 demands. If he can't resign as the president, let him dissolve the entire cabinet. Let him appoint new people who are up to the task. But as he does that, he should know Kenyans lost confidence in him and they want him out. So he can work within those parameters, maybe to save himself. But again, from the look of things, the gods have made him blind. He's not seeing, he's not listening. He's destined for destruction. That's what I'm seeing here, ladies and gentlemen. And we also saw Rigathi Gachagua speaking today, saying he's ready to resign from this government. Though that's going to be our analysis in our next video. Make sure you don't miss that analysis by subscribing. So all in all, the second wave has just begun. William Ruto has only one option: to implement the 14 demands by Gen Zs. failure to which the rebellion will build momentum slowly by slowly, and eventually Kenyans will take again to the streets. Revolutions are never a one-day thing. It always happens slowly by slowly. We are in our third week. In Sri Lanka, it took 9 months. So William Ruto should not think that everything is now under control. Momentum is still being built. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Those watching us outside Kenya, drop a comment, let us know from which part of the globe you are watching us from. If possible, subscribe, give the video a like. Let's meet in our next analysis. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Kenya.